What's going on, guys? Look, I'm a little late to the party on this one, but Robert Zemeckis' Pinocchio has come to Disney Plus this past Friday. And look, right off the bat, I just want to say I'm not a hater of these Disney live action remakes. I actually like uh, mostly all of them. I mean, before this, I would say my least favorite was Dumbo. But I would give that like a 3 out of 5. I mean, it's watchable. I mean, I think it's just very middle of the road, mediocre. But films like Cinderella or Aladdin are my two favorites of the live action remakes. Beauty and the Beast and Jungle Book, not bad either. So going into this, I didn't know what we were going to get. I mean, this is a very dark animated film. It might be the darkest uh, Disney animated film ever made. Certainly one of the darkest, with a lot of the themes. And look, this movie's been out for 80 years. The animated film's been out for about 80 years. So, I'm going to get into spoilers. You know, the movie that's been out for 8 decades. If you haven't seen it or don't know anything about Pinocchio, maybe go watch the animated film. But this follows the same exact story. The way that Disney animated films to the live action remakes do is they basically tell the same story, with maybe adding a few extra characters or scenes to make the runtime bigger. Now, to add those scenes, some of these movies really enhance that. A lot of the stuff, like I said, in Cinderella, which was going on, they really enhanced that story, and I think it's actually right up there with the animated film. Same with Aladdin, what they're adding to with Jasmine wanting to become the Sultan, adding a little more to her character. All that stuff really worked for me. Her song "Speechless," a lot of stuff really worked for me in that movie. Most of the stuff, but this time around, everything added doesn't add to the film. It just adds to the runtime. This is a baby movie, I would say. This is my least favorite live action remake thus far. And from the trailers, I didn't think I was going to say that I like Dumbo more than this. Um, this isn't terrible. I mean, it still follows the same themes and beats of the original film. So you can sit there and you can watch it. This is a watchable film. But, I mean, in the end of the day, comparing it to the original and looking at it on its own, it falls kind of flat and a little dull, and it seems like something you would see on Blue's Clues or Sesame Street. I just feel like a lot of this is just really spoon-fed to us, where in the animated film it's not. It's a lot more sophisticated. I mean, let's talk about the things that are added in this. I mean, when Pinocchio gets with Stromboli and he locks him away, Stromboli also has hired this girl who is a puppeteer, and her puppet has this dance number with Pinocchio. So I thought that was a little strange, because in the animated film it's like, okay, Stromboli, I'm gonna go off and tell my father about my day, and I'll be back in the morning. And Stromboli says, back in the morning. And he grabs him, he rips him, he throws him into the birdcage. In this, Pinocchio gets sidetracked, and he doesn't even really have that big of a conversation with Stromboli. He's there and he's distracted by this other dancing puppet that's being actually on strings, like I said, from the two new characters, the human and the puppet character. Stromboli comes in and he says, "No, no, get in the birdcage. I don't want you doing anything else." It's a little stupid. I think it's to be quite frank with you, it's a little stupid. Some other things that are added: you get a new bird character that can speak, that takes Jiminy Cricket places he needs to go. It being very ominous in that animated film where they're back to Geppetto's house and he's not home. They're sitting on the staircase, and from the sky a letter comes from the good fairy. I mean, it was just all there's magic to it. There's magic to it. And the way that Pinocchio gets onto that big cliff, and he says, "You ready, Jiminy? I'm going to go." And Jiminy says, "I'm going with you," and all this. And he jumps off. That jump and you see this little wooden puppet jumping into the ocean to save his father, it's so very powerful for me. It feels bigger than life. Still, to this day, I just rewatch it before watching this movie. But in this movie, the bird says he sold all of his clocks to buy a boat, and he went to find you at Pleasure Island. That I actually didn't necessarily mind. Oh, he sold all of his clocks to get a boat because somehow he heard Pinocchio was on Pleasure Island. He says, okay, I'm going to buy a boat to go sail there. That was okay for me. That was probably the only thing that worked. But how we find out is by this bird. And that didn't work for me. This bird, do you remember from Finding Dory, the bird Becky that took the characters where they needed to go? That's exactly what this character reminded me of. It was just, I wanted to be Becky and slam my head off anything I could. But yeah, so we don't get to jump into the ocean. We get to basically go on our little raft or whatever and be pulled to Geppetto. And then Monstro comes and he swallows them. So the redesign to Monstro, it looks like a Kraken type thing. I mean, I don't know why they had to go redesign Monstro. The interior, I didn't actually mind it. I thought the redesign of the interior of Monstro was pretty cool. A lot darker with a lot of blue lights that I thought was pretty interesting. And I did enjoy that. I would say the best part of the film is the Honest John stuff. The high diddly dee and Actor's Life for me. They kept that intact, and they actually paid it justice. Alan Silvestri's orchestral version of it is very similar, and it's very bombastic, and I really enjoyed it. Keegan-Michael Key, as Honest John, basically stole the show for me. And, he's not in it as much as you'd think. When we get to the scene where we meet the coachman and we would go to Pleasure Island, on their way home in the animated film, Honest John comes back and he picks Pinocchio up yet again to take him to the coachman to go to Pleasure Island. In this, they just sort of walk and almost get hit by the coach, which is a little silly. Jiminy gets basically hit. He's flying through the air, and Pinocchio gets picked up that way. And we're already on our way to Pleasure Island. The whole scene where Honest John is in the bar with the coachman. He's talking about the money he made from Stromboli, and the coachman says, "You want to make some real money? How about you collect a kid for me, because we're taking them to Pleasure Island, and when they come back, they won't be boys," or whatever he says. I mean, it's freaky. That coachman is freaky in the animated film. And in this, he's just Luke Evans, and he's just silly, and he's saying, "Don't be a party pooper." So, like I said, they definitely babied a lot down. And the end of the film is where I have the biggest issue and the biggest theory. The end of the film plays out similarly. We get out of Monstro, but instead of Pinocchio dying, it's Geppetto that dies. Watched this with my girlfriend, the animated film, and when you see Jiminy's looking for Pinocchio, and he sees his body just laying there in the water, dead, she said, "Wow, that's dark." In this film, it's the opposite. Geppetto is laying there. Pinocchio goes, "Oh, father, don't die, don't die." But then out of nowhere, he starts singing "When You Wish Upon a Star." Now, in the animated film, that song is not sung within the movie. It's only sung in the credits, the opening credits. It might be sung like at the very last minute, just a voice over the chorus, but it's not sung by any of the characters. In this, I like Cynthia Erivo sings it as she leaves. She was also great as the Blue Fairy. Her and Honest John were my favorite parts of the movie. So he remembers that, and he starts singing it. Why does he start singing it? I don't know. But he starts singing, "When you wish upon a star." It's a little strange. So just start to sing that. And he sheds a tear. Sheds a tear that brings Geppetto back to life. Which I think is weird, because, he could have cried at any point and maybe gotten his wish. I don't know. it's a little strange. Why didn't he cry on the lock? And maybe the lock would have opened when he was in the birdcage. I don't know. He was able to resurrect Geppetto. I mean, it's a little different. This wooden boy is not really a real boy. So in the animated film, when she says, "You've accomplished your task, I'm going to resurrect you as a real boy," it's more majestic. It's more Disney magic. When Pinocchio looks, he says, "Oh my God, I'm a real boy." In the animated film, it's so powerful. In this, well, it gets worse. In this, Geppetto wakes up and he's, "Where are we? Where are we?" The CG, the green screen in this scene is absolutely atrocious, by the way. And Pinocchio, and there's a blue light on the other side of the tunnel or whatever in the cave, which I thought was a little strange. Where was that light coming from? I don't know. But Pinocchio says, "Come on, let's go." And he says, "You know the way?" He says, "No, but I think we should follow this blue light." Okay. Uh, could be the blue fairy emanating light. Who knows? They don't really explain it. The movie ends extremely quickly and wraps up extremely quickly, and you get a voiceover from Jiminy Cricket, who, by the way, Joseph Gordon-Levitt was excellent as Jiminy Cricket. But you get a voiceover from him saying, "You know, in some stories you hear, he transformed into a real boy. In some stories he didn't. But regardless, deep down inside, he made the transformation." And that was it. Movie ends. And then as you see them walking away, you see him as a real boy. But with this narration from Jiminy Cricket saying, maybe he did, maybe he didn't. Maybe they're showing us, well, maybe this is what happened. Maybe. We don't know. And then the movie ends. This is a bad ending. This is a terrible ending. The whole thing is about Pinocchio turning into a real boy. Not, well, maybe he did in some stories and maybe he didn't. We don't know, but deep down he did. That's not what it's about. It's about him transforming. And I get we see it in this film, but with that narration and dialogue, we're to believe that that's just a possibility. That is just something that could have happened. We don't really know. And then it ends just like, yeah, okay, that's it, we're done. A terrible ending. What? Why? Why? You change things and you make them worse. You thought that was a good idea? Who thought that was a good idea? But my theory that I said I have a theory about the ending of this movie. When Pinocchio sings and resurrects him, I don't think he resurrects him. Maybe he's still dead. Maybe he's still dead. Maybe he's a ghost. Did you guys ever see The Woman in Black in 2012? Daniel Radcliffe gets hit by the train at the end of the film, and he gets up. We think he's alive still, but he's not. He sees the ghosts of his wife. Okay, this movie, maybe the ghosts of his son is Pinocchio himself. Who knows? Maybe the ghost of his wife's on the other side. Maybe that blue light passing through that tunnel is him dead, passing on to the afterlife. Maybe this movie was about Geppetto mourning. But even if it was, you don't really get much into that. Regardless, that would be the only way that I think the end of this film would work. Other than that, like I said, they baby a lot down. It's not very good. It's not very good. It's the same thing. It's a carbon copy, and when it's not, it's adding things that actually are things I don't like, and they don't work. So this is a 2.5 out of 5-star movie. It's not terrible, but comparing it to the excellence of the animated film, I mean, it still holds up to this day. Comparing it to that, it just doesn't work, and it's just not good. And it tells the story, but in the most basic baby way. And that's that. That's my thoughts. It's my least favorite live action remake so far. Next, I think Peter Pan and Wendy's coming out before The Little Mermaid. Maybe March or something. That's coming to Disney Plus. Then Little Mermaid, which I'm very excited about. I really enjoyed that trailer, and I can't wait to see more. So we'll see what they got after that down the pipeline. But guys, you can follow me on Twitter at Ranking72 and Instagram and TikTok at KingOfRises131. Also, you want to hit that subscribe button. You're looking for live-action Pinocchio reviews, or maybe you're looking for other things. Maybe you're looking for She-Hulk reviews, medieval reviews, barbarian reviews, whatever the case might be. Come on, check the channel out. We talk about all the new stuff, all the new release films, and like I said, She-Hulk. We do Blu-ray unboxings, updates, collection videos. We celebrated 10 years on YouTube a few weeks ago, and I did a complete 4K Blu-ray update video, showcase my whole collection. So definitely come on over, check that stuff out. Guys, that's been it for me. Thank you so much for watching my review for Robert Zemeckis' Pinocchio. And until next time, over and out.